Well, to talk more about the situation in Syria, I'm joined by Firas Maksad. He's the director of the Arabia Foundation and a professor at George Washington University. Thank you for joining us. Now, are these airstrikes in Deir al-Zor, are they a sign that the United States is about to get more involved in the war in Syria?
Well, I think what the airstrikes today constitute is the first real test for the new U.S. policy for Syria. The United States, the Trump administration, announced a new approach to Syria about 2 weeks ago. What we had today is an attempt by the Syrian regime and its allies to test U.S. resolve in Syria by launching that offensive against U.S. allies across the Euphrates, really what has been the dividing line between forces backed by the U.S. and the international coalition and forces backed by Russia and Iran. The U.S. forces opened fire in self-defense and in defense of their allies. So they were tested today, and they have demonstrated a resolve to carry through the new announced U.S. policy in Syria, which is more forward-leaning.
So will it be a case of reacting when something like this happens rather than a long-term strategy of how to get more involved?
Well, it very much is a strategy. It's a strategy that says we have now entered the post-ISIS phase of the Syrian war. There has been a phase for the past 2 or so years where the major players involved have been focused on defeating ISIS. That has been largely accomplished now. In this post-ISIS era, the U.S. message is that we're not packing up and leaving. We are staying east of the Euphrates in northeastern Syria, working with our allies, a very valuable piece of territory that is oil-rich, that happens to be the breadbasket of Syria, that includes strategic assets like the Euphrates Dam, and we will have a say in the political process that will eventually unfold to determine the future of Syria. Thus far, in the past couple of years, it has been primarily the Russians that have been leading militarily and diplomatically, and the Iranians and the Turks. And so the U.S. is saying, we're here to have a say, and we're here to be on the table, too.
Well, with Russia pretty much saying the same thing, they, of course, back the regime of Bashar al-Assad. They're very keen to protect their interests in Syria. With Washington kind of saying the same thing, does this not just prolong the war even further?
Well, I mean, I think to be realistic, there has been no prospect of the war coming to an end. There has been a Russian-led attempt at de-escalation through what has been referred to as de-escalation zones that has largely skirted the U.S. and worked primarily with the regional actors, Turkey and Iran. But Russia has been unsuccessful at trying to cap what it sees as a military victory with a political compromise that is to its liking. And now the U.S. is saying, I'm the new kid on the block. I will have to be part of any process that determines the future of Syria.
Firas Maksad, thank you very much.